In this video, we will do data cleaning in SQL. As an example, I created a fake search engine marketing data with lots of mistakes. I named the table as Dirty Table to make it funny and understandable. First, I created a new table which will be clean one. I inserted all the data from dirty one to new one, and I did my cleanings in the new one because never delete any value in original one. Later, I created another table, which is for saving dirty ones in order to see what's deleted if needed. And finally, I delete the dirty ones and make it ready for the analysis. For cleaning, I fixed data types and logical problems. You will see how I did it in the video. Let's get into it. Here is the table, as you can see. You can do this by right-clicking your table and select top 10 rows. So it writes the code, and you can see. Before we start to clean with our data, we need to know the types of each cell. If you write this code, your table name here, and when you execute it, we can see the details of our table. You can see clicks are numbers, but they are actually in text type, which we don't want because we cannot do calculations with text. Yes, they have 50 characters limited on each cell. This is good way to see your table. What is it about? Let's understand our data first. We have keyword text. This is what people searched for. As you can see, basketball shoes, affordable shoes, walking shoes, shoe promotion, like this. And this is the match type. So when people search for basketball shoes, they find this product. Basketball shoe had shown this time and had clicked this time. And these clicks become purchases for 13 times. Spend this amount of money for this advertisement and made this amount of money from this advertisement. And the quality score from 1 to 10 is 7. So this is our table. And now we start to clean our data. So let's open a new query. Let's create our table. In order to create table, you have to write create table. And here I will write my new table name, which is SEM data. I will open parentheses. I will add my column names here. Keyword text. I want it as text again. I'll write 50 here. This means I can write 50 letters in this comma. Match type. I also want it as a text, so I'll write varchar. I want clicks column as an integer, impressions column as an integer, conversions column as an integer, cost euro column as decimal number, so I'll write float, conversion value as float again, because I want to see decimal numbers here. And last column name, quality score as an integer. Yeah, close parentheses and execute the code here. And if I want to see our table, I'll write select all from SEM data. And if we execute this, we can see that our columns are here, but there's no data because we didn't add our data. And now I'll add my data from the previous table into this table, but this time these will be integers, float, and varchar. So we created our new table, and now we need to insert our data to our new table. So let's write our code. Insert into new table name, SEM data. I'll just copy and paste the column names. You know, these are our column names. Let me do it very fast. Okay, I wrote them all. Close the parentheses. And we need to select our data. Let's write select. And I will select keyword and match type. I don't want to change them. These are fine. Conversion, I need to delete all the tabs in our cell. But I want to change the clicks. I want to convert clicks from text to numbers. In order to do this, I'll write clicks, okay, that are supposed to be numbers, because otherwise cast won't work. What I mean here, let me show you. So Our cell could be this or could be this. If we try to convert this to number, it will be number. But if we want to convert this one to the number, you cannot convert this gap into number. If there is any, we don't know, and we can check all of them one by one. Because of this, we will write a code that will delete for these tabs for us, okay? So I'll write replace in the clicks column char 9. This char 9 means tabs in cells, okay? And I will write this one. This means empty. After this, I want to cast these texts into numbers. So I'll write try cast, okay? So it will try to cast this value into number as integer. If it fails, this value will turn to null because this column is supposed to have only numbers. If there's any cell like this, we don't know, they will turn back as null value. So if there is any null value, I also want to convert them to zeros. So if this code fails to convert, the value will be null. But I want to convert null values into zeros. So I'll write call sense. And I'll write 0 here, okay? Oops, 0 here. So I will repeat everything for the others as well. Comma here. I will change the column names and quality score. But because of our new table, cost of euro and conversion values are float, I'll change them as a float. Okay. We select our data. But where do we select from? We select from our previous table, SEM 30 data English. And when we execute this code, all of our rows are affected. And when we want to see our new table, you see, let's see our new table's details again. This is our new data. Now they are integers, these two are floats. We have some zeros. These were supposed to be null, but we convert them into zeros. That's why we don't see any null values, because nulls are now 0. So on the next step, we will start to delete some values in our data. But before we start to delete them, I want to create a new table. And the purpose of this table is, before we delete any of the data, I will insert the data that I'm going to delete in that table, so that if needed, we can go back and see which data is deleted. So to do this, I came here, I will rerun this code, but I will change my table name. Let's do it SEM data deleted. And when I run this code, and when we refresh it here, we can see on the tables, there it is, deleted. So whenever I'm going to delete something from SEM data table, before I delete it, I will insert into SEM data deleted. Later I will delete on SEM data. So at the end, we will have a pure SEM data. Okay, now everything is prepared. Until this time, we were preparing our data for cleaning. And right now we can actually start to clean our data. Before we do it, I want to see our table again. So let's just execute this. So when I check these numbers, clicks, impressions, conversions, cost of euro, conversion value, and quality score, they can't be negative. I'm gonna search for if there is any negative values in here, okay? To do this, I will write select, and I will select all from SEM data where clicks smaller than 0 or impressions smaller than 0 or quality score smaller than 0. And when we execute this code here, we can see all the negative values here, which we are going to add in our deleted values, because impressions cannot be negative, clicks cannot be negative. Cost of euro minus 9,999. That's totally wrong. We cannot trust this value. Imagine that you are calculating the average cost of euro. This number will also involve in calculations and it will just change everything. So we will clean this data. We will add them first into SEM data deleted. Later, we will delete them from SEM data table. In order to do this, I'll write insert into. So we will insert these values into our table, which is SEM data deleted. And when we execute this code, these are the things that we want to insert, yes? So let me just write here, saving negative values before deleting them, okay? So if I just copy and paste this here, because insert into SEM data deleted, which data? This data, okay, this table. So when I execute this code, this row is affected successfully. Let's see, select all from SEM data deleted. You will see that our 28 rows are added there. Yeah. We will delete this data, but before we delete it, we save it. So it's time to delete. To delete this, I'll write delete from where? From SEM data. But which data? I will choose these values because we want to delete these ones. Okay. And when I execute this, 28 rows affected. If I search for this, this is our code that searches for negative values in SEM data. When I execute it, nothing happens because we delete them all. Okay, this is successful cleaning. Before I jump into next step, I'll just note here that what we are doing there, deleting negative values from main data. These notes are so good for understanding what we are doing with this code, and it is easily readable from others as well, and also for us. So I highly recommend taking notes like this. Quality score can be at least 1 and maximum 10. So if there is anything except this area, we can't trust this data because in Google Ads, quality score cannot be lower than 1. Let's write our code. Let's say checking quality score column if there is any value out of 1 and 10. Yeah, so let's say select all from SEM data where quality score bigger than 10 or quality score less than 1. Let's execute this code. So there are a lot of data. We have like thousands of rows and this is more than 10%. So we cannot delete all this data because of only quality score is wrong, okay? So what I'm going to do, I will not include this quality score where quality score is 0. I will not include these into calculations. If I take it as a 0, it will involve in calculations. To do this, I will write null for zeros. And when I write null, they won't involve into calculations for like averages or like seeing the minimum, this kind of things. Let's write because values, okay? So let's say update SEM data, set quality score is null, where quality score is 0. Let's run this code. Perfect. 117 rows are affected. And when I run this code again, We don't have any, that's good. Clicks cannot be bigger than impressions. Impressions has to be bigger than clicks. The best scenario they'll be equal, but this also doesn't make sense. Checking impressions. So select all from SEM data where clicks are bigger than impressions. Let's run this code. There is no, okay. Also conversions cannot be bigger than clicks. If you want to see conversion, it has to be clicked. Yeah, and we can just copy paste this one. Let's see if there's any value like this. Oop, conversions. Okay, let's see. Yeah, 0 clicks but 6 time conversion, that's totally wrong. So I need to delete them, but before delete, let's add it. Values, adding values into SEM data deleted table where conversion is bigger than clicks. Okay. Insert into SEM data, select all from SEM data deleted, select all from SEM data where conversions are bigger than clicks. Let's run this code. Perfect, now it's time to delete them. Deleting values, clicks. Delete from SEM data where conversion is bigger than clicks. Let's execute this code. We also could delete this as well. Let's see what we can do more. Conversions cannot be bigger than impressions as well, so let's check it very fast. Checking an impression. Yeah, we can copy paste this one. Conversion is bigger than impression. Okay, there's nothing like this. Good. Let's see our main data very fast. Select all from SEM data. So we have conversion value. If conversions is 0, there cannot be conversion value, yes? So I'm going to check this one very fast. Checking is bigger than 0. Select all from SEM data where conversions is equal to 0 and conversion value is bigger than 0. Let's execute this one. There are no conversions, but somehow conversion values. These are also wrong. I'm going to set them null. I don't want to lose these values because if we are going to see shoe discounts, clicks average, we can use this data. When I set them null, these won't involve into other calculations, and conversion value is bigger than 10. So let's write update SEM data set conversion value is null where conversion value is bigger than 0. I just changed conversions and conversion value. Let's execute this code where conversion is 0. You see, if it is not 0, it's null. That's good. Let's find out the empty cells in keyword text and match type. So I'll write select all from SEM data where keyword text is empty or match type equals empty. Let's run this code. Okay, we find all of them, and now I want to import it to the deleted. Yeah, let's write this one here where keyword text and match type are empty. So insert into SEM data deleted, and I will just copy and paste this one. Let's execute this code. Okay, nice. And I'm gonna delete the rest, deleting values where this condition occurs. So let's delete from SEM data where this happens. 19 rows are affected. Perfect. And the last thing is I want to find out if we have any duplicates. Checking for duplicates. I'll write select all and count all as repeated times from SEM data, and I will write group by here. I want to group them by column names. I just copy and paste. I wrote it before. And the last thing is having count is bigger than 1. Let's execute this code. Okay, I write it wrong. Let's execute again. This is why we write repeated times. These rows are repeated 2 times, each of them. And we don't need to add each of them again, because like this can be repeat. It's okay, but numbers? No. Maybe quality score, but not conversion value or not cost or not these. This is not logical. So I'll delete 1 copy from here. So okay, inserting into copies into SEM data deleted table. I didn't write it with you, but I will explain what I write. It looks a little bit crowded, but it's not so hard to understand. What I'm doing here, I'm selecting all and I'll give them a row number. Okay, as a row num. I name it row number as a row num. Partition by, if any of them matches, like if I write partition by match type, okay, it will show me phrase, exact and broad. That's why I wrote all the copies here. And I save it as a row num because I'm using row num here. And you see a parenthesis here from starting here, select all and row number over as row num from SEM data. This is our table name. With copies as. With as code creates a temporary table for only this code. This copies table will be only there. When I run this code, this table won't be visible here. So I created a temporary table here. Okay, everything is ordered, partitioned by all the column numbers, and we will see the same table here again. If I run this code by itself, we will see the same thing here. The thing that we won't use this code is because of the count. Because when I say count, you can see there's one more column, but I want to insert our copies into our deleted table. And if we want to insert from one table to another, every column names has to be same. So SEM data deleted has 8 columns, but here we have 9 columns, 3, 6, 9. We cannot insert it. It won't work. That's why we are using this code. So I create the temporary table, I select all, I give them a row number as a row num, and I partition by all of them with their column names. If all of them are same, it will be visible like here. But it won't show like 2 here, but it will just write it again. And order by select null means like you can order however you want, randomly, it doesn't matter. So this is our temporary table. Insert into our deleted table, and we are selecting all from copies, because this is our copies table, where row number, this value is bigger than 1. When I execute this code, 15 rows are affected. So if we want to see select all from SEM data deleted, you will see that our tables are here. You see? Nice. These are our copies. So next step, I'm going to delete them. Let's say deleting. I will just copy this one. This is same, and I will just change this part. Delete from copies, because copies table is from SEM data. We will delete this table, okay? And this table means this one, where row num is bigger than 1. If I execute this code, 15 rows are affected. Perfect. So if I want to see my current table, select all from SEM data. Let's execute this. How many rows we have? 919. We almost deleted like 100 rows. This is for cleaning example. On the next step, we will creating our new columns. Here we will add some calculations, some analysis here. This code is a little bit confusing, I understand. I will explain what's happening here in a different video. So hope to see you next time. I hope you learned something from this example.